1839. A year that would mark the beginning of a seismic shift in China's destiny. The port of Canton is thick with tension and the smoke of burning opium. The air is heavy, not just with the acrid scent, but with the weight of history about to be made. Imperial Commissioner Lin Zexu, a man of unwavering resolve, orders the destruction of British opium, a bold and defiant stand against foreign exploitation and the poison flooding his homeland. The Qing dynasty draws a line in the sand, refusing to bow to outside pressure. But this act of resistance sparks a conflict that will reshape China for generations to come. Soon, British warships and cannons shatter the peace, unleashing the Opium War and ushering in the Century of Humiliation, a time of invasion, suffering, and collapse that would haunt the nation's memory. The proud empire is forced to its knees, sovereignty chipped away by unequal treaties and wars. Each signature on those documents is a wound that will not heal easily. Fast forward to today, stand on Shanghai's Bund, gazing at Pudong's futuristic skyline, and you witness a city transformed beyond recognition. Towers of glass and steel now rise where foreign gunboats once threatened, symbols of ambition and renewal. Modern China has transformed itself into a global powerhouse, a stark contrast to the besieged ports and broken spirit of the 19th century. The world now looks to China as a leader, not a victim. Yet, the memory of that century of suffering lingers, shaping the nation's psyche and fueling a collective determination to never repeat the mistakes of the past. The pain of the past fuels China's confidence and determination today. Each new generation carries the torch, striving to build a future worthy of their ancestors' sacrifices. The gleaming towers are more than economic symbols. They're monuments to a promise. Never again will China be brought low by foreign powers. To understand China's assertiveness, you must understand its history of humiliation. The past is not forgotten. It is a driving force behind every decision. The story of Canton's smoke to Shanghai's gleam is not just history, it's the key to understanding China now, and the lens through which it views the world. The past is never truly gone, it's the ghost at the banquet, a silent guest at every celebration of progress. China's rise is built on the ashes of its humiliation, a testament to resilience and the will to overcome. This is the story of a nation's vow to never be weak again, a promise written in steel, glass, and the hearts of its people. Why does the Century of Humiliation matter in 2025? Because it's the foundation of modern China's identity. It explains the drive for unity, economic strength, and sovereignty. National rejuvenation means reversing the verdict of that painful era. The trauma forged a powerful nationalism, fueling revolution and shaping foreign policy. China's sensitivity to sovereignty and its assertive stance on issues like Taiwan are rooted in this history. Understanding this context is crucial for anyone engaging with China today. The Century of Humiliation is not just China's story. It's a lesson in how history shapes the present. Before the 19th century, China was known as the Celestial Empire. Vast, self-sufficient, and deeply proud of its ancient heritage. The nation stood as a beacon of stability and culture, confident in its superiority over the outside world. Foreign trade was tightly controlled under the Canton system. The British, restricted to a single port in Canton, grew increasingly frustrated by the strict limitations and heavy regulations imposed by Chinese officials. The Qing court saw little need for foreign goods, believing their own products and traditions were unmatched. British attempts to introduce new technology and ideas were largely dismissed as unnecessary or even inferior. The Macartney mission, Britain's grand diplomatic effort, failed to impress the Qianlong emperor. In a famous letter, he declared that China needed nothing from the West, reinforcing the empire's sense of self-sufficiency. This mindset, rooted in centuries of tradition, left China unprepared for the rapidly changing world and the challenges brought by industrialization. While Europe modernized, built factories, and expanded its influence across the globe, China looked inward, clinging to its customs and resisting change. The Qing's refusal to adapt and innovate was a critical miscalculation, one that would have lasting consequences for the empire. The Industrial Revolution, gave Western nations unprecedented power, technological, economic, and military, that would soon reshape the global balance. The walls of the Celestial Empire, strong and unyielding for centuries, were about to be breached by forces beyond their control. The stage was set for a dramatic collision between ancient pride and the relentless advance of modern force, a clash that would reverberate through history. China's world, once isolated and secure, was about to change forever, marking the dawn of a new and uncertain era. In the 19th century, the British developed an insatiable appetite for Chinese tea, silk, and porcelain, luxuries that became symbols of status and refinement in Britain. Yet, China showed little interest in British goods, demanding payment only in silver. This one-sided trade drained vast amounts of silver from Britain's coffers, creating a growing economic imbalance. To stem this relentless outflow of wealth, Britain turned to a dark solution: opium, cultivated in British-controlled India and smuggled into China. The drug spread like wildfire, and opium addiction soon gripped millions across China, devastating families and communities. As silver flowed back to Britain, China's wealth evaporated, and its society began to unravel under the weight of addiction and poverty. Alarmed by the growing crisis, Emperor Daoguang recognized the urgent need to act before his nation was destroyed from within. He appointed the resolute Lin Zexu to lead the fight against opium. Lin wasted no time, arresting dealers, confiscating opium, and blockading foreign merchants to halt the trade. In 1839, Lin made a bold statement by publicly destroying over 20,000 chests of opium in Guangzhou, ordering the contents to be flushed into the sea in a dramatic act of defiance. For China, this was a moral victory and a stand for national dignity. For Britain, it was a direct challenge and a provocation. In London, politicians and newspapers framed Lin's actions as an assault on free trade and a blow to British prestige. Under mounting pressure from powerful commercial interests and merchants, the British government felt compelled to respond. They dispatched a formidable naval fleet to China, determined to force open Chinese markets and restore their profits. The First Opium War was about to erupt, a conflict not fought for defense or justice, but to impose the opium trade by force and secure British commercial interests at any cost. The poisonous tide of opium had set the stage for a devastating clash between empires. As addiction spread and foreign warships loomed, China's sovereignty was under siege like never before. The nation faced humiliation, occupation, and a loss of control over its own destiny. Thus began the era of humiliation, a dark chapter in China's history that would echo for generations. The First Opium War exposed China's military weakness. British gunboats easily overpowered Qing forces. The Treaty of Nanking forced China to pay indemnities, open ports, and cede Hong Kong. More defeats followed. The Second Opium War, the loss of Vietnam and Taiwan, and the burning of the Old Summer Palace. Foreign powers carved out spheres of influence, exploiting China's resources and people. Internal chaos grew, failed reforms, the Boxer Rebellion, and the collapse of the Qing dynasty. China descended into warlordism and civil war, preyed upon by foreign and domestic enemies. Japanese invasion brought further devastation. The century of pain only ended with the founding of the People's Republic in 1949. The empire had unraveled, but the story was far from over. History is shaped by individuals, like Empress Dowager Cixi, who ruled for nearly 50 years. Often blamed for resisting reform, Cixi was both ruthless and pragmatic, trying to hold a crumbling empire together. She supported some modernization, but feared radical change would destroy the dynasty. Her missteps, like backing the Boxer Rebellion, deepened China's crisis. But the era's story isn't just about rulers. Millions of Chinese laborers, or coolies, fled poverty to work abroad in brutal conditions. Their suffering and resilience became the human face of China's weakness and its global reach. These ordinary people built new lives, sending money home and shaping communities worldwide. Their struggles reveal the true cost of the Century of Humiliation. The Century of Humiliation left deep scars, lost territory, foreign-controlled cities, and a shattered economy. Extraterritoriality and foreign concessions were daily reminders of subjugation. Economic devastation fueled unrest, leading to massive conflicts like the Taiping Rebellion. The psychological blow was even deeper. China's sense of superiority was shattered, sparking a crisis of identity. Out of this trauma, modern Chinese nationalism was born, a drive to build a strong, unified nation. This nationalism fueled revolution, reform, and the struggle to restore pride and sovereignty. Both nationalists and communists shared the goal of ending humiliation. The legacy of this era still shapes China's politics and ambitions today. 1949 marked the end of humiliation and the birth of the People's Republic. The new government promised strength, unity, and freedom from foreign domination. The lessons of the past drive China's focus on unity, self-sufficiency, and technological independence. Projects like the Belt and Road Initiative reflect a determination never to be vulnerable again. Understanding this history explains China's priorities and its social contract. The story of humiliation is one of resilience, a nation rising from ruin to reclaim its place in the world. To understand China today, you must hear the echoes of its past.